So yes, I'm a little crazy with the whole Irish theme, but hey, this is Helen Tang. I work for SUSE. I'm the host for your event. Thank you very much for joining. We're looking forward to a great event. I know we're all very anxious to get to the festivities, so I'm going to say three quick things, housekeeping. First one's the agenda. We will have Guinness and our ambassador and our host talk about the wonderful history of Guinness, the history of Irish beer for about 30 minutes. Then SUSE will present for about 15 minutes with Sherry Yu. Last but not least is Eamon O'Neill from Lemongrass. So that's the agenda. The second thing I want to talk about is questions. So because of the high number of attendees, we have muted everybody. However, we welcome questions at any time. So just put it in chat. I will be monitoring chat at all times, as well as the Guinness team. If it's a quick question we can answer directly in chat, we will do that. If not, I'll bring it up to the speaker, whoever's talking at the time, and say, hey, by the way, last but not least is the grand prize drawing. So just FYI, obviously SUSE and Lemongrass are not eligible for the cash prize. It's for customers only. And I will be taking a virtual roll call. So all of you that have joined are the ones that are eligible for this. All right, that's it from me. I'm going to turn it back over to the Guinness team.
Yes, thank you very much, Helen, for that introduction. Yes, this is Guinness at Home, your Guinness-themed virtual event coming to you on this very special week. Yes, the week of the St. Patrick's Festival, and we are on the eve of Lála Fódraig, or St. Patrick's Day, and we're absolutely delighted to be able to bring to you or deliver to you a healthy slice of the Guinness Storehouse right to your homes. Now, as Helen said, we're going to spend the next 30 or so minutes talking all things Guinness, okay? Just to introduce myself, my name is Rob. I'll be one of the hosts entertaining you for the next half hour or so. But before we get straight into the action, just a couple of things, okay? Hopefully you will all have a can of Guinness Draught at the ready, okay? If you have a can of Guinness Draught in your fridge, go grab it now, grab the glass, because in but a few moments, I will introduce my co-host and beer aficionado, beer specialist, Mr. Padraig McLaughlin, and he's going to bring us through the perfect Guinness Draught can pour. It is an art we have honed here at the Home of Guinness, and we are willing to share that knowledge with you this evening. So the next time you have a dinner party or a soiree, you will be the belle of the ball, bringing out your can of Guinness Draught and showing them how to pour it correctly. Okay, now, as Helen did mention, okay, we do have everybody in mute, but that doesn't mean we don't want to talk to you, okay? So please use the chat function. If I can't answer your question, okay, I will hand it over to the beer specialist. And if the beer specialist can't answer the question, we have an ace up our sleeves, okay? We have a little special machine here. It's called a centralized optimal linguistic machine, or column for short. So it's not just a guy called Column on a laptop in the corner. No, we have a machine, the All-I scene, the All-I being voice of the Guinness Storehouse, that will jump in at any point to answer your questions. Actually, I think the feed has just begun. Column, are you there?
I am here, yes indeed. I can hear you loud and clear. Good evening, Rob.
Brilliant stuff. So at least we know Colin is there as well. And also, guys, towards the end of the call, we're going to have a very quick quiz, okay? We're going to use the Kahoot game app for this quiz. We have 5 Guinness-themed questions for you to answer. And I believe we do have a prize for you as well, okay? So if you're not familiar with Kahoot, that's fine. Just download the app really quickly, or just go to kahoot.it, enter the game pin in, okay? You just enter your name. It's very, very, very quick, and you will be in a chance of winning a fantastic prize this evening, okay? Any problems logging onto the Kahoot, do use the chat. My production team behind the camera here will go to the ends of the earth to make sure that you are able to log on to the said quiz. Now, okay, I think, and it's also good, sorry guys, to also have a secondary item there, like a phone or a tablet, just to answer the questions on, okay? And we're going to be absolutely sorted. I think it's time we got a drink into everybody's hand, okay? So if you haven't grabbed your Guinness Draught can, grab it now. And I will introduce my co-host for the evening, okay, Padraig McLaughlin. He was part of the very first beer specialist team here at the Home of Guinness. Beer specialist, you ask? It is a real job. Padraig has travelled the globe far and wide to ensure Guinness is being served to the highest quality in bars and breweries alike. So Basically, there's nobody probably more qualified in Ireland or even the world to show you how to pour the perfect draft can of Guinness. So without further ado, I'll introduce, drumroll please, Mr. Pádraig McLaughlin.
Hi Rob, great to be here. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well, Pádraig. On the eve of St. Patrick's Day, we're all super excited here at the home of Guinness.
Excellent. And a big hello to everybody out there tuning in. You're very welcome.
So we're going to go through the perfect can. So just to give a bit of context on this, during the lockdown period, I noticed two main things, okay? Two things sprung out to me. One, banana bread. Everybody's baking banana bread. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely love it myself. But the other thing that came out, Pádraig, was a phenomenon, okay? Something called the Guinness hard pour, okay? I'm like, what is this Guinness hard pour? It was a new way of pouring a Guinness draft can. Amazing, I know. And we're never ones to shy away from new innovations and whatever. So we embraced the new pour, okay? And if you want to just maybe let the guys at home know what is the hard pour?
Absolutely. Well, as you correctly said, when we went into lockdown, obviously social media took a huge hold in so many different things, like making banana bread, dances, you name it, it seemed to happen. And we weren't immune to it either. It was phenomenal, just phenomenal even. Exploded right across TikTok and right across Instagram, where people were challenging each other and people were trying different ideas and different ways to actually pour the perfect pint of Guinness. And it kind of seemed to come down to two particular versions, two particular ways to do it. The traditional way, which is the soft pour, and then also the hard pour, which does exactly what it says in the tin. Literally, it is just pouring the beer quite unceremoniously into the actual glass itself. And they were kind of distilled down to two versions that people had settled on. So I think what we'll do today, if you're up for it, if you're up for a bit of healthy competition, Rob?
Always.
Good. What we might do today is actually do both pours, the hard pour and the soft pour, and then let you good people at home decide which actually looks best.
So basic pour, you're saying you've just thrown down the gauntlet and you just challenge me to a pour-off. Okay, absolutely fine. I'll accept your challenge. Okay, but I want the guys at home as well to join in with us, okay? So here's what we're going to do. Beer specialist and beer aficionado, Mr. Pádraig McLaughlin, he's going to do the hard pour. I'm going to do the soft pour. You guys choose which pour you'd like to do as well, okay? If you're on Team Colin, fine. Look, we won't fall out over it, but if you want to go to Team Rob, we'll do the soft pour, okay? And at the end of the two pours, we're going to decide, or you're going to decide, who is the champion pourer of the Guinness Storehouse, okay? So, Pádraig, you go first with the hard pour. Join in with him if you'd like, or wait for me to do the soft pour.
Beautiful. Now, before we do actually, I'd like to just kind of go a little bit deeper and actually explain what's happening inside the can, because I'm sure you've come across that lovely little rattle there. What that is essentially, that is one of these guys here called a widget. A little ball, tiny little plastic ball with a little hole going through it. You can kind of hold up to the camera there, you can probably just see it. And what that does essentially, that captures the nitrogen inside the can and releases all that wonderful creamy magic that's happening. So, can I go back a little bit further? In 1959, we launched Guinness Draught as we know it now. Essentially that lovely, luscious, creamy, velvety beer that we now know and love as being Guinness. And what the widget does, that makes that pour possible at home. So, without further ado, I'm going to get stuck straight into it. And literally, there's no hanging around here, by the way, guys. So literally, you're pulling, you're opening, and you're dumping it straight in, like that. And what's happening is the beer is basically working through that widget. It's knocking all that nitrogen out, and it's creating this wonderful surge, we call. So what you're looking at in the glass right now is quite literally millions and millions and millions of tiny little nitrogen bubbles all doing their thing. And those bubbles are falling down, cascading down, if you like, down the side of the glass. But it's almost like a trick of the eye, because what's happening is the bubbles are being pushed down, they stop, and then they flow right back up through the center of the glass.
Not going to lie, Pádraig, looks pretty good. Not going to lie, I'm under a little bit of pressure here. So I'm going to do the more traditional soft pour, okay? So get your draft can of Guinness, open it up nice and kind of slowly, okay? You don't activate it too harshly, okay? You're going to take your Guinness glass, you're going to put it in the Guinness glass at 45 degrees, and you're gently going to let the beer cascade down the side of the glass, okay? Poetry in motion, as they might say. You're gently going to straighten the glass as it starts to fill, okay? And you're going to wait till you get to the very top. Okay, and we are going to pour that in there. Now, I think we may have ran into a couple of issues here.
It is possible.
It is possible. It does happen.
Do you know what? for the sake of transparency, my friends, I think what we might do is go for another can. What do you reckon?
I think we should. We had a bit of technical difficulties with that one. I think that was
We'll go take two on that one. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so do we have another Draught Guinness can here? I think we do. Yes. Okay. So can we edit that out, guys? No. Okay, it's live. Okay, that's no problem. Okay, so here we go. And you see another Guinness glass. There's another Guinness glass there. So once again, open your can like this. Okay. And just nice and slowly, we're going to get a glass here. We're going to hold it at 45 degrees. Once again, take two. And this time, oh, look at that. That looks a lot better,
That's a bit healthier, yeah.
I think you've already won pouring, but we're going to do the can pour anyway. So as the glass starts to fill, gently straighten your glass. Okay. We're going to go all the way to the very top. Okay. And then we're going to leave our pints to settle just right beside Padraig's there. Okay. So obviously, we're looking at these 2 pints poured. Okay. One looks black and one looks kind of brownish. What is going on?
Now, as I say, that wonderful nitrogen breakup. One thing I'll say, you mentioned there about brownish, one thing I'll say, even though we're known here at Guinness being the home of the black stuff, and we're known throughout the world as being the home of the black stuff, the true colour, the actual technical colour for Guinness is red, ruby red. And again, if I may, I'll just hold that glass up to the, you might just be able to see that wonderful little red hue kind of coming through in the corner. Even do it with your glass back home. Just have a look at that corner. How we do that, we add a little bit of roasted barley into every single batch of Guinness that we brew, and that gives that distinctive ruby red colour, along of course with those lovely roasty flavours and aromas as well. But essentially what's happening there, to go back to your central question, Rob, is we are seeing that nitrogen basically breaking out and just settling right to the very, very top. And the best way to taste Guinness, my friends, you've heard it here first. The best way to taste Guinness is to not sip the head, but get right into the body of the beer, get right underneath the head and actually into the beer itself. How you know you've done it right is if you've a nice white moustache.
There you go. We call it the Guinness tash, and that's what you kind of need, the Guinness
yeah.
tash. Now, ladies and gents, I would like to skip this part, but we have to do it, okay? So I'm going to ask you guys to judge who has poured the better pint of Guinness today, and just bear in mind that I'm the one that gives out the prizes after the quiz. Okay, so guys, if you want to vote for Team Padraig, just put PAD into the chat, or if you want to spell Padraig, PAD-R-A-G, or if you want to, if you think Rob has poured the better pint, just put Rob in the chat, and let's see what happens. Oh, I knew this was going to happen. Okay, yeah.
Sorry,
pass,
Rob. Two's not better than one.
Rob is actually coming through here. This is amazing. Rob. Okay, we're gonna stop it there. The masses have spoken, and Rob, yes, Rob has won the Guinness Pint prize. Yeah. So next time you want to throw the challenge down, Padraig, maybe think twice. Okay, yes. Excellent. But okay, but in the interest of all things fair, I think we're going to call it a draw. In the spirit of St. Patrick, we're going to say it's a draw. And by the way, guys, both pints will taste the exact same. Okay, so. Those are our pints of Draught Guinness. Do take on that knowledge and pour that when you have your friends and family around. It's a bit of fun. Somebody try the hard pour, somebody try the soft pour. But ladies and gents, as you enjoy your Draught Guinness, we have a little bit of a surprise for you, okay? We can't have a party without having a little bit of music, okay? And we're delighted to have Irish singing sensation Jamie Duff here with us in the studio. Jamie, are you there?
I'm here loud and clear. How are you getting on?
Can we see Jamie? Yes, Jamie is here. He's in the studio. He's on the other end here for social distancing, very, very safe. Jamie's no stranger to the Guinness Storehouse, okay? Jamie's performed here many times. Usually he's on stage downstairs, thousands of people here shouting his name, Jamie, throwing things at him on stage. I'm not going to say what. We all love Jamie here at the Guinness Storehouse. And today, Jamie, you're going to perform for the guys in a little bit different way back at home.
Absolutely. You're all very welcome. Good to see you all. Make sure you sing along with me if you know the words.
So, ladies and gents, take it away, Mr. Jamie Duff.
I took a stroll down the old long walk in the day. I met a little girl and I stopped to talk on a grand soft day. And I asked you friends, what's a fella to do if her hair was black and her eyes were blue? And I knew right then when I gave her a twirl, the day I lost my heart to a Galway girl. Oh, well, halfway there when the rain came down on the day, she took me up to her flat downtown on a grand soft day. I asked you friends, what's a fella to do if her hair was black, her eyes were blue? And I knew right then, and I gave her a twirl, And then I lost my heart to a Galway girl. Oh! When I woke up, I was all alone. Broken heart, ticket home. And I tell you now, what's a fella to do if her hair was black and her eyes were blue? Yeah, I've traveled around, I've been alone in the world. Boys, I ain't never seen nothing like a Galway girl. Oh! Thank you so much. Happy Patrick's Day tomorrow.
Oh, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, the studio going wild as always for the sounds and stylings of Mr. Jamie Dubb. His unique style, as you can see, his beautiful fedora hat that he wears, okay? So Jamie brings his fedora hat everywhere he goes, all around the world. So he calls it Fedora the Explorer. No? That one? Okay, fine. Guys, sorry. Apologies for the joke. We're going to go to the chat now. A couple of questions here. I think Jeff did mention he had too many digital products around to do the hard pour. Completely agree. Practice it in the comfort of your own bath. I think it's the best way to do it first. Just get in with the can of Guinness, practice it so you don't spill any else anywhere, okay? Good choice. John asks, is Johnny Fox's still around?
Yes, indeed it is. And it's funny you actually mentioned about Johnny Fox's because I'll actually be in Johnny Fox's live with Guinness tomorrow night, part of Tourism Ireland. So yeah, so tune in. I don't have the link to hand, but tune in. Tourism Ireland, Johnny Fox's, you'll find a link. A lot of fun things happen there tomorrow night. And actually, before I go on, what you say about the chowder is absolutely right. Their chowder is delicious.
Brilliant. And always great with a pint of Guinness as well. Don't forget that one, okay. Okay, guys, somebody says, come on, dance in the group. We were dancing off camera, you just didn't see. We might give it a little bit of a treat towards the end, okay. So guys, we're gonna continue on, okay. So we've spoken about the Guinness draft and stuff. Now we want to kind of talk a little bit about how does it go with food, okay? So you would have got a little bit of a pantry list. Hopefully you got some of the items. If you haven't, it's fine because Porrig is now going to go through those taste profiles and how we match Guinness with food.
Brilliant. Well, to be honest with you, one of my great passions is beer and food and why beer works so well with so many different varieties of food because beer's so versatile. So as Rob said, we did set out a pantry list, a kind of a treasure hunt, if you like, for various parts or various foods that will go great with Guinness. Some of them a little bit quirky, some a little bit kind of left field, but that's what we want. So for example, if you have the humble raspberry, now on paper it really shouldn't work, but it absolutely does because those flavors are so very, very different. But something magical is happening underneath because you have this acidity and the sweetness of the fruit is going to balance perfectly with the bitterness in the beer as well. Another great example, and we also mentioned there about butterscotch or toffee. Beer, especially Guinness, is actually a great dessert beer. And this is a great example because butterscotch or toffee would actually be a naturally occurring flavour within stout, if you like. And to complement that, eat it with a little bit of toffee, a little bit of butterscotch, because those flavours will combine, they will merge, and they will come together and create something very, very special. So next time you're having a dinner party and you want something different to serve for dessert, try beer, try a stout. And I promise you the results will astound you, my friends. The third, Rob, do you like spicy food?
I do love a bit of spicy food myself, Porrig, yes.
Would you consider Guinness as a traditional complement to spicy food?
Maybe not so traditional, I'd say, Porrig,
Yeah.
but I think you're going to tell me otherwise.
I most certainly am.
Yes.
How did you know?
I do.
The reason being is because you're right. I mean, traditional would dictate that Guinness wouldn't really be a complement or a partner to spicy food. Because when we think of Guinness, we think of it as working so well with stews, with casseroles. I mean, Guinness and oysters, Guinness and chowder. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But I'm going to just kind of work with something on this. So in other words, Guinness with something spicy. So what I have here is chili flavored chips. So a little bit of heat in there. Now how that works, it works in a couple of different levels. Because Guinness as a beer actually has quite a lot of hops in the recipe. And hops will naturally work to tame the spice, but not decrease the flavour. So in other words, it kind of puts manners, if you like, on the actual spice. But also that wonderful creaminess, that smooth, velvety mouthfeel that you get with Guinness. That works so well just to kind of tame the heat again. But also to clean the palate and actually welcome in the next mouthful.
Excellent stuff. Thanks for that, Pádraig. And do let us know your favourite beer or Guinness and food combinations. You can log on to the Instagram, you can post your pictures, and you can show off with your Guinness and food creations. Now, we're going to pop to the chat really quickly here. A couple of questions here. How old is Guinness? Our man in the sky is going to answer that question. Our Colm, how old is Guinness?
Well, it depends on how you define Guinness. Guinness as a brewery has been around since 1759, so we're 262 years old. The Guinness that we had at the start of the call here, Guinness Draught Stout, is in actual fact only 62 years old, and that came out in 1959 to celebrate our bicentenary.
Excellent stuff. Thank you, man in the cloud. Somebody asked what Irish cheese would go best with Guinness. Well, there's a wonderful part of Ireland. The most unique part is called Wexford, okay? Beautiful part of the country in the southeast. I myself might be from Wexford, okay? And we make the most beautiful cheeses down there, okay? So if you're looking for a cheese, try get your hands on a bit of mature Wexford cheddar, okay? And that pairs absolutely perfectly with Guinness Draught. Okay, guys, I think we just have to move on kind of a little bit quicker here. We're going to go back over to our Irish music sensation one last time, okay? And he's going to bring us one of his classic, iconic songs. So take it away, Jamie. Okay.
Fare thee well to you, my own true love. There were many fare thee wells. I am bound to California, a place I love so well. So fare thee well, my own true love. When I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that grieves me, but my darling, when I think of thee. Well, I am bound on a Yankee clipper ship. Crockett was her name, and the captain's name was Burgess, and I think she's afloat in hell. Oh, I said fare thee well, my own true love. When I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that grieves me, but my darling, when I think of thee. Now the ship is in the harbor, love, and I think I can't remain. It will be a very, very long, long time till I see you again. So fare thee well, my own true love. When I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that grieves me, but my darling, when I think of thee. And my darling, when I think of thee. Yo! Woo! Yeah! Thank you so much, guys.
Up here. Thank you very much. Okay, ladies and gents, we're about to start our quiz, okay? But just to note as well, I can see Christabel there as she is enjoying her Guinness after every single sip. I can see by the reaction on her face that she absolutely loves Guinness Draught from a can. So thank you for that, Christabel. Guys, we're about to start the quiz, so get on Kahoot now, enter your game code, enter your name, because we have to start very soon, okay? Just a couple more really quick questions. Do most bartenders do a hard pour or soft pour from the tap? Well, to be fair, the bartenders can only do a soft pour from the tap. The way the tap is designed and the flow of the beer and the nitrogen, we don't do it from a can, we do it from the tap, so it's always the soft pour. And super quick question on temperature. This is a more technical question, which I'm not going to answer. So darker beers develop more flavour at 5 to 8 degrees Celsius. I was in the UK and Ireland before COVID, and there were super cold Guinness at 0 degrees Celsius, okay, or Fahrenheit. Why the change?
To be honest with you, it's very much down to local flavours and local taste. We would always recommend Guinness to be served at about 6 degrees. When you go down that cold, generally what you're doing is you're kind of reducing some of the flavour as well. So it's just pretty much down to local flavour, local taste, if you like.
Okay, good stuff, ladies and gents. We're going to start the Kahoot quiz quickly, okay? So we're running out a little bit of time here. We want to make sure we're running on time. So we're going to get the quiz screen up, okay? And we're going to see how many people are entering in this quiz. Okay, so we're going to share the screen now. If you haven't logged in already, please do. Okay, all you got to do is put in your Kahoot game pin and your name. We have 28 people on the call, so we're going to begin. Guys, how it works, you're going to get some questions. The quicker you answer the questions, the more points you get. They're multiple choice, so the answer will be there somewhere. So don't be afraid to take a chance. Okay, this could be your opportunity to become the most knowledgeable person about Guinness in your local area. Okay, and that is something that is going to stick with you forever and ever. Okay, guys, so I think we're ready to go. 30 people in. Let's start the quiz. Okay, the first question. We only have 5 questions for you guys, so you got to be quick. Question number 1. The tension is building here in the studio, guys. Everyone's gone really quiet. What is the true color of Guinness Draught? Okay, the true color, is it ruby red, is it black, is it brown, or is it purple? Okay, we're very, very close. 23 answers. You have 3 seconds more to answer, guys. Get your answers in as quick as you can. Yes, of course, the correct answer is ruby red. You all held up your points to the light there and you saw the beautiful ruby red hue emitting from the bottom of the glass. Let's have a look at the scores and see how that has changed things. Okay, we have Badresh is in the lead, storming in the lead. Paul S. and John Saki making up the top 3. Let's move swiftly on to the next question. Question number 2 of 5. How many seconds does it take to pour the perfect pint of Guinness? Is it 89 seconds, 100 seconds, 119.5 seconds, or 40 seconds? Interesting. This is Guinness from a tap in the pub. How long does it take? Yes, 119.5 seconds is the correct answer. Just under 2 minutes to pour that Guinness. Perfection. Okay, how does that change the scores? It's changed everywhere. Chris Payton has stormed into the lead with PN in second. Badresh has moved to the 3rd place. Okay, let's see what happens after this question. Question 3 of 5. What county? Now, what county? That's a part of Ireland. Was Arthur Guinness from? Was he from County Dublin? Was he from County Louth? Was he from County Kildare or County Cavan? Let's have a little look now. Let's see where Arthur Guinness is from. Of course, he was from Kildare, a fine lily white, as we call them here in Ireland. And let's have a look how that has changed the scores. We have a new leader. Paul S. has risen to 1st place, Badresh in 2nd. Okay, but guys, I'm not going to lie. This is the closest quiz that probably I've seen. Okay, we're heading up to the penultimate question now. Here we go. Question number 4. True or false? Quickest first, guys. The optimum temperature for serving Guinness is 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Is this true or is this false? Is it true or is this false? Everything could change on this question. Everything hinges on this question. Yes, the answer is, of course, true. Excellent stuff, guys. So let's see how that changes the scores. Badresh has moved to the top. He was lingering in 2nd for a while. He's on top. Paul S. 2nd. John Saki. Guys, this is the last question, okay? I'm not going to lie. This is so unbelievably close, okay? Anybody in that top 4 or 5 can become the victor in this evening's quiz, okay? Fastest fingers first. Here we go. Question 5 of 5. What does IPA stand for? Does it stand for India Porter Ale, India Pale Ale, Irish Porter Ale, or Irish Pale Ale? Try saying that after a few pints of Guinness. Okay, here we go. 1 second to go. Ladies and gentlemen, 22 people got that correct, and the podium is about to be shown. Drum roll. No, we've no drum roll. Okay, excellent stuff. 3rd place with 3509 was Kay Suter. Congratulations in 3rd place. 2nd place, we have Paul S. And the winner, there was no catching them. It was, of course, Badresh. You are the winner of this evening's prize, and we're going to get that to you ASAP. But well done to everybody else who partook in the quiz. You were listening. Everybody got a lot of the questions right. So well done, okay? So, ladies and gents, we're actually coming to the end of our part of your virtual experience this evening. Can I just say on behalf of me and the team, it's been an amazing experience to be able to actually speak to people about Guinness during these times and give you a little bit of what we do here at the home of Guinness, okay? If anybody has any other questions that we haven't answered here, pop them in a mail and let Helen know, and we'll pass on and we'll get the answers back to you ASAP. But for me, the team here at the home of Guinness, we just want to say, oh, hold on 1 second. I've just been told the main prize has been upgraded. You might win a centralized optimal linguistics machine. A column.
Here I am.
Yes, we fooled you. He is actually a real person. A column, our man in the sky. We fooled you. I know you thought he was just a machine, but yes, you can win a column as well. Just leave him under the bed. Just water, regular walks, absolutely fine. Okay, guys, from me at the home of Guinness, from all the team here, have a great St. Patrick's Day. Have a great St. Patrick's week. Sláinte, and we'll see you soon.
Wow, that was amazing. Thank you so much, Guinness team. But Josh, your prize is going to be in the mail. I mean, not mail, email. You know where I know where to find you, and it'll come from Amazon. Chris and Paul, you'll both get something as well. Thank you so much for participating. So now let's do a little bit of a palate cleanser because we're switching topics, going from beer to IT. So how we're going to do this palate cleanser? We'll do a quick poll. So for those of you that are involved with SAP, we've heard, depending on which survey you look at, it says either 99% of organizations or 95% of organizations have parts of their SAP in the cloud. So the poll is a two-part poll. The first question is, give us a percentage. For your organization, how much of your SAP is in the cloud? Could be 0, could be 100, or any number in between. The second part of the poll is, does your company have a multi-cloud strategy? If so, put multi, or if it's a single cloud strategy, put the name of your chosen cloud. That's it. Everybody start putting it in chat. And while we're doing that, I'm going to bring up our next speaker, who is Sherry from SUSE. So Sherry, if you want to turn on your video as well as unmute yourself. So,
hi, everyone.
John, 0% in the cloud. Ooh, got some work to do. Gibbs says 95%. Well, that's a lot. Prasanna says 90%. Interesting. A lot of multi-cloud strategy here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is keep the poll going, and I will be compiling the results of the poll, send it to everybody who attended in my follow-up email tomorrow. So I'm going to go off video. And actually, Sherry, are you on?
Yes, I try to share my screen.
Oh, okay. Is that why we don't see you in video?
My video is still on, but you cannot see me anymore.
Eilish, could you help spotlight Sherry? Sorry, we have too many people with videos open. Philippe and James, I'm really sorry. It's lovely to see your faces, but if you don't mind turning yourself, the video off rather, so we can actually see our speaker, Sherry, on. John as well. I apologize. I didn't ask you to turn your video on, but it is really lovely to see all of you guys. There we go. We see your screen now, Sherry.
Yeah, let me know when I can get started.
Go ahead and get started.
Yeah, thank you. It's time to do some context switch, so I'm going to get started with your favorite topic behind beer, which is SAP. And SUSE has been working with AWS for a decade, and with a lot of innovation in the SAP space. In the past 2 months, we just celebrated 10 years of collaboration with AWS. So that's a milestone for us. And especially, we have a lot of joint initiatives in the SAP space. So for example, the first SAP certified AMI is actually made available on AWS with SUSE. And over the years, we have been working together to create a lot of innovative solutions to support our customers' journey to S/4HANA and also with this cloud migration. And SUSE is the world's largest independent open source company, if some of you are not aware of the fun fact. And we have a lot of, we have a portfolio of products, not just for the SAP application, but also in the edge computing, high performance computing, artificial intelligence, and also containers. And for SAP, it's well known that the SAP applications and SAP HANA are actually developed on SUSE. And it's the first platform that SAP gets certified on. And also we work closely with AWS to make the instance types certified for HANA. And also we work together to push the envelope to create bigger and bigger instance types to support HANA. And regarding how SUSE is helping accelerate SAP S/4HANA migration to AWS, there are 4 pillars. The first one is the agility and the reliability. As I mentioned that we work with SAP and AWS to provide a timely HANA certification. And once the certification is achieved, we produce robust cloud images in the marketplace. So for example, 15 Service Pack 2 It's as soon as it's certified for HANA, customer can launch the AMI from the marketplace to start deploy the deployment. And we also bundle the high availability as part of the image of SLAS for SAP, because for production workload, high availability, the cluster is a critical component for the mission critical workload. So regarding the agility, another aspect is we provide automation to help deploy SAP services much faster in terms of hours or days other than weeks or months. And right now, SAP landscape end-to-end, a typical S/4HANA can be fully automated with one click. And the full landscape can be done within several hours. With pacemaker as part of deployment, that traditional deployment on AWS could take weeks or sometimes even months for less experienced system admins. And we also build in the best practice with this automation, especially for the pacemaker. It's built in with performance optimization and also the tested best practice parameters to set the SAP landscape. And another one is the best practices to strengthen the operations. We provide monitoring, proactive monitoring, and to provide customers with real-time insights regarding what's going on within the SAP landscape. And also we provide the best practice-driven patching and upgrade as the day two operation. So for example, when you have a HANA system replication running in the cluster, so we provide a tested procedure to do rolling HANA upgrade to avoid downtime, but at the same time, you can keep your HANA system up to date with the patches, etc. And the fourth pillar is the integrated support experience with AWS and also with SAP. When three companies work together, we guarantee a fast response to resolve your issues in the mission critical workload. And we also provide a purpose-built support tool in order to collect precise information out of your landscape and deliver directly into SUSE support engineer's hand. And as a result, it allows SUSE support to speed up the troubleshooting and reach a resolution as fast as possible. And the end result is to avoid outage downtime and increase customer satisfaction. So SUSE works behind the scene with AWS in all the regions. So this is a region map. A lot of customers may not be aware of the joint engineering effort behind the scene. SUSE builds update infrastructure in all AWS regions, and it provides a robust backbone to patch and update your marketplace images. So the red dots, also the orange dots is the region servers, along with the red ones, and they provide the metadata to point the server to its close by update servers, and the red dots are update servers that provide the actual bits for the image update. And as you can see, each update server has two redundancy. So this is how we achieve a zero downtime, for the infrastructure. And another aspect is the support. As I mentioned, that our support listens to customer feedback, and a common process when customers running SAP in AWS is the layer of support, because your workload may be managed by a service provider. And so when a customer raises a ticket, there may be layers to get that info into SUSE. So we developed some tools to cut through the layers in order to collect accurate information from customers' involvement. So it would increase efficiency and decrease unnecessary meetings and allow our SUSE support to get access to the issue in a timely manner. And the end result is increased customer satisfaction. So this is the end of, at SUSE, we do have our staff dedicated to AWS in the North America region. It's our Team Ash, our colleague, and yeah, he is excellent to work with. So his contact info is on this slide. If you have any question or feedback, please don't hesitate to reach out to Jim.
Thank you so much. That was a very fast flyby. So Sherry is probably the most experienced person I know when it comes to the topic of SAP in the cloud. So everybody feel free to ask a question. She's been doing this for almost 10 years, which is probably as long as SAP has been in the cloud, I think, more or less. So everybody, don't be shy, chime in, ask your questions, and I will raise it to Sherry. I think everybody's still drinking. That might be why we're not getting a lot of questions. Oh, here we go. So Chris is asking, how fast can we, I guess meaning SUSE, make landscape copies of an S4 environment?
Yes. Am I still sharing my screen?
You are sharing your screen, yes.
Oh, okay. So it depends. We provide the automation modules, right, to automate your operation. So and depends on which module you would like to use, and you can select the module that fits into your needs. And so all the automation can be integrated with your existing automation framework. So it depends on the workload, and we provide automation for both S4HANA, the NetWeaver-based piece, and also HANA based on system replication.
Can you give an actual number or a range maybe to get the sense of how fast it could be?
Yes, so for a typical SAP HANA running in system replication in Pacemaker, so the manual process would be to install the primary HANA database, then the secondary database, then enable the system replication between the two systems, and then install the Pacemaker software, enable the resources to manage the two databases, and then you're gonna do some tests, right, to make sure that there is no wrong settings. And normally for a very experienced cloud architecture, it may take several days because it starts with creating the AWS environment and enable the infrastructure. So for example, you need to set up, you need to enable the permission to enable the Stoneys device. And also you need to set up the virtual IP on AWS is implemented as overlay IP. So there are a lot of sub-steps you have to perform on the infrastructure side before you can carry out the SAP deployment. So the typical process may take 1 week or several weeks depending on the expertise level. And with this automation, with one click, once you configure your template, for example, you provide your VPC data, and you describe the instance type that you want to use to install HANA, and you point the automation script to your S3 bucket where the HANA installation media is stored. And once you click the button to actually run the installation, it takes about 1 hour.
Great, thanks so much, Sherry. Philippe has a question. So does SUSE only support SAP public cloud, or do you do private clouds as well?
Yes, we support a wide range of deployment platform on AWS, of course, and also we work with a lot of smaller vendors to provide private cloud, and also HANA started as appliances, so we also work with hardware vendors.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Sherry, for your time. So if you guys have any more questions for Sherry, you have my email. Send it to me. I'll make sure Sherry gets them ASAP. So with that, if we could say goodbye to Sherry for now and change speakers. So I'm going to invite up Eamon O'Neill. Yes, a very Irish name. Eamon is the founder of Lemongrass. So if you can turn on your camera and unmute yourself, Eamon. Sherry, if you can stop sharing, we can highlight Eamon's video. Eilish, please.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you just fine, but I'm trying to make your video bigger.
Sure.
Eilish or anybody else from the Guinness team, can you highlight Eamon's video, please? I hope they didn't fall asleep because it is like 11 o'clock over there. So with the time difference. Here we go. Perfect. Okay. Without further ado, I give you Eamon O'Neill.
Thank you very much, Helen. So look, I'm delighted to be here, and for everybody who, can you even see it? The pixelation is not helping, but there is a glass of Guinness, and it's launched to everybody. And happy St. Patrick's Day. So look, of course, being Irish, I didn't have to be asked twice to accept this invite to be part of this celebration. A fantastic idea, and I have to say, while I live in Boston, which is technically the 33rd county of Ireland, seeing the guys in the Guinness storehouse certainly made me feel quite homesick. It's been obviously over a year since I guess most of us have been traveling, so at least in a remotely gives a really nice sense of the fun that the guys are having, the crack that they're having in the iconic building of the Guinness factory. So we absolutely love this opportunity, and I thought I would show a little bit. This photo behind me is where I'm from in Northern Ireland, which is about 100 miles north of Dublin. And in the background, you see the Mourne Mountains, which some of you may have seen. I mean, they're not spectacularly big, but they are quite beautiful. What's really interesting is the foreground here. This rock formation is called the Wateresque Dolmen, and it's a very old structure. It's about 4,500 years old, which is approximately the same age as the pyramids. And what's kind of cool is if you walk around Ireland, well, drive around or whatever, you'll see this type of structure. It's not uncommon to find it just in a field like here, that you can just walk up to and touch or whatever. So it's amazing to see the ancient part of Ireland so reachable, as it were. But that's literally around the corner from where I grew up. Now, what's also interesting, the field around it, it's quite common to have these kind of left alone by the farmers. This is a barley field, which of course is where Guinness comes from. So, what's quite nice is the idea that over the years, who knows, maybe some of that barley made its way into one of those Draught Guinness cans at some point, and somebody actually enjoyed it. So, so that's quite, I think there's something kind of special. If you get a chance to get to Ireland, that's the kind of thing you can look up, track down, and drink a Guinness while you're there as well. And I suppose what's interesting too, when I thought about this event, is it actually took me back to one of my first ever SAP projects, which was for Guinness in Dublin, when I was a boy consultant back in the day in the 90s. And we were doing, a rollout. It turned out to be Diageo's core SAP system whenever they bought Guinness in the 90s. And as I was reflecting on it, the thing that struck me was back then, one of the first things I was asked my opinion about on this project was they were looking at potentially doing an upgrade of their R3 system. And I can't remember what version it was, probably 3.0 or something like that of R3. And they were considering moving up to another version. But their choices at that point were quite simple. Do we go do we upgrade now or do we upgrade later? That was it. There was no complexity other than timing. And yet today, when I talk to CIOs who are looking at what they do next with ERP, they actually have a whole bunch of choices what they want to do with it, or what they could do with SAP. So they could, run SAP on SQL Server, Oracle, DB2 for another 9-10 years. They could switch to HANA on ECC. They could go S4 on-prem, put S4 in hyperscaler. They could go S4 public cloud, S4 single tenant edition, or now even RISE, SAP RISE, or the HEC 2.0 concept. And in many ways, while that's, choice is always good, it can actually be a bit of a blocker as well. And one of the challenges I think a lot of CIOs have, a lot of IT teams have, is, what are you meant to do next? So it's a very different world to the 90s. There are very different options, but there's also very different opportunities. And one of the things that we see working with SUSE and AWS is some of those opportunities are really quite exciting. So we see a lot of customers at this point in their journey where they're kind of looking at what do we do next. And when we outline to them some of the things they can achieve, and when we see some of the things that customers achieve, I think it's one of the most exciting times in the SAP, it's certainly my career of 30 years working with SAP that I've seen. So we see hyperscaler doing something that we just can't seem to do, or you just technically can't do on premise. And that is not just the business case, people expect things to be cheaper. And of course, you would see that with hyperscaler, and certainly people like AWS as the price leader. They would drive a conversation about price reduction, not just one-off, but ongoing price reductions. And seeing IT companies talking about continuing reducing your price is always a nice thing to hear. And certainly something that we didn't see back in the 90s. But the second thing people expect are things to run a lot better. And, that there should be, of course, more capacity. Things should be better performing, even more secure today on hyperscaler. And of course, all of that operational excellence, all can be done. But what's really interesting is when you actually start looking at how you achieve those things, it actually comes down to automation. So since I started in this industry, the biggest cause of concern in SAP has been don't promote defects to production. That's always been the mantra. You've got to avoid promoting defects to production. So people test and they retest and they cutover test and they put in place plenty of contingencies and mitigations against that risk. The trouble is, of course, it costs a lot of money and it slows things down when you add all those layers. But in actual fact, the cause of those defects is often, certainly in the technical layer, it's human error. People who put the wrong kernel version in dev as opposed to test or production. The people who, by mistake, might import transports in the wrong order. So what we find is the way to actually to get operational excellence is to automate. And that's where hyperscale, I think, is pretty much untouchable. That you can automate not just the infrastructure, but the SAP technical layer as well. And you can bring it all into one concept. And of course, the beauty of that is not only do you get a high quality build, which removes a lot of noise, but you can then start to be much faster. And again, I look back to the 90s all the way through till even today, the speed that people operate at in the world of SAP is completely different to what we see in the rest of IT. We get people who are doing 2 or 3 drops every day of releases. And this is the kind of thing that SAP teams really struggle with. Automation is the key to that, and it's the key to drive that agility. And then, of course, the beauty of being on a hyperscaler is you can then take it to the next level, which is innovation. So now you're more agile. Well, what can you do with it? And there's a never-ending and an ongoing increase in innovation that people like AWS are releasing, people like SUSE are releasing to support that. And part of our job in Lemongrass is to help customers kind of piece these things together and to help pick those benefits, make sure that they get delivered and know what those risks are and avoid them. Make sure that you're getting the good stuff and trying to avoid the bad stuff. So that's our job. And honestly, I have to say, I always like talking about it, as you can hear. And probably more so after a couple of Guinnesses. So if you think I'm talking a lot now, when I'm with my friends, this is pretty much what I tend to bang on about as well. So, quite happy to talk to anybody on the call about it if you want to talk a bit more later about it or another time. But I would like to wrap up just by, thanking Lynn and Helen for organizing this. I thank the Guinness team for a fantastic event. I thought it was very, very cool. As I said, made me certainly homesick. And to wish everybody, again, it's a happy St. Patrick's Day. And as I said, Ireland Sláinte, good health, and hopefully speak to all of you at some points in the year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eamon. And Jim is raising his glass as well. Thanks so much for joining us. And like I said, I'll be sending you an email tomorrow, and 3 of you are getting cash prizes. Oh, plus there's going to be a grand cash prize of $500. So I will do that drawing later today. The winner will get notified within 24 hours. That's it. Thank you so much from the SUSE team. We love having you, and join us for any future virtual or physical event. Bye-bye. Take care.
You've just watched SUSE's virtual St. Patrick's Day party in 2021. Want to attend these events yourself? Got a question about SAP? Just send us an email. And don't forget to subscribe to the SUSE channel and watch the AWS playlist.